Welcome to NXT a couple of days before Vengeance Day.
Take a guess how many times I botched that.
And I botched it. I'm a botcher. If it's the first time you're watching me, hey, I botch my words. I have no shame in saying that I botch, but at least I'm an honest reviewer that knows when he messes up. Now, this is a few days before Judgment Day, and I can tell you that this episode of NXT was not bad. It was okay, go home show. Let's open with the match that I thought would have been the closing of the show. Elon Cher versus the Creeds. I really thought they were going to close the show with this, but they did not. So, oh my. What did we get for this match? I'll tell you this. When it comes to the guys in Elon Cher, they're good. Now, I think about, and I'm not against Satnam Singh. He's still very green. And then I think about when it comes to Muhammad Ali Shera, who I've been very familiar with for many years, who's worked at Impact Wrestling, who's worked at OVW, who worked in, where else did he work? I think he worked somewhere else. I don't think he worked in NWA. I don't think he went there. But he did, I think, once went to MLW. Once, I think. But I recognize him from Impact, and I recognize him from OVW when I did do a couple of reviews there. I did see him there. And he was their television champion. I think about him compared to them. What's the difference between Muhammad Ali Shera and when it comes to Singer and Tier? Are they better wrestlers than him? Yes. There's always going to be a better wrestler than you. And I want to make it very clear. Not because Muhammad Ali Shera is a piece of garbage. He's not. I think he's an average wrestler. Nothing wrong with him. He has his moments. But he's always been stuck because of Impact in one type of little box. So because he's been in that same little box for so long, being muscled to somebody, he really doesn't get very far. Then you look at Elon Cher when it comes to Singer, and when it comes to, if I'm pronouncing his name, Singer, and when it comes to Tier, they're a little different. Now, do they speak with a similar accent? Yes, but it doesn't really mean anything. Everyone has an accent. Look, I'm a New Yorker. I got an accent, baby. Okay? So I'm not going to rate them because they can't speak proper English like an American English. Who gives a damn? It counts if they're booked correctly and can they act. And from the way they've been working, I see something interesting in them. They're bigger than most people. They move well in the ring. I know people are going to think, when it comes to Elon Cher, having Jinder Mahal is going to be a detriment to them. But I think not. I think compared to how he had his run, when he did 3MB, and then when he became SmackDown champion, he could teach them something. So as it stands right now, it's still very early. But I do believe they do have potential to be something good on the main roster. In the end, what did we get? We got... how can I say this without sounding like it was really crappy when it wasn't? Look, when it came to Ivy Nile trying to stop a Jinder Mahal from interfering, and pretty much it was Julius who nailed her by accident trying to go across the ring and do a push off the ropes and knocked her off the ring because she decided to get up there along with Jinder Mahal. It's okay, but it is typical. You would use her in that position. But the question I'm having now is what's going to happen with the Creeds now that she got nailed that way? And how is Elon Cher going to capitalize on this, and how are they going to book them? It's a big question. I do not know what's going to happen with the Creeds and what's going to happen to Elon Cher. I just don't know. But hopefully, we'll get something that will help either one of them to progress in a certain way. Because I don't think the feud's over. It's just not over yet. Now, Zoe Stark versus Indy Hartwell. Now, both of them were in the Royal Rumble, and they both did pretty good. Indy Hartwell did get kicked out earlier than Zoe did. And I am kind of disappointed that they didn't do anything for them.
They did so much for the women.
But they didn't let even one NXT star for the men show up. Why? It was all from SmackDown and Raw. You couldn't bring in anyone from NXT to give them a little bit of a shine, to introduce them to people. Now, I know Zoe and Indy didn't really get much of a pop. Roxanne did get a little bit of a pop. But it's not surprising because, let's be honest, the same fans who loved NXT when it was run by Triple H have been disenfranchised. So that's the reason why they're really not watching much. I'm actually quite surprised, and I wish to say thank you for anyone who's been watching the videos like from Impact and NXT. They're the most highest numbers I've been getting, which is a surprise to me, and normally don't get it. And I don't even know if I'm even going to get more than 30 people watching this. It's a good possibility of having those numbers now. Don't mean a damn, because I may only get 30 people watching this. So even if it's only 30, I don't care. Thank you. But this was all stemmed from that. Indy basically messing with Zoe, and Zoe messing with everybody else, saying that she was better than everybody else. So we get this match. It was a good match. And Indy basically got her ass handed to her. Do I believe she needed it at this point? No, but unfortunately, and I will be getting to Nikita Lyons in a minute, they don't really have anybody for Zoe Stark to mess with now because, well, since that match is over, Nikita Lyons, let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, almost forgot. So Rika actually saved Indy because Zoe was going to pretty much get her ass beat afterward. So as you can see, so Rika is now taking the place of Nikita Lyons. They did a storyline where she's out last week. She was out in the parking lot. Whole bunch of women were out there. And they did show a video of it, showing this episode who was out there and who could be the one that hurt her and now messed her knee up, which looks like she might have an ACL tear or something, or an MCL, I believe. But she's out. She's going to be out for several months because they showed a tweet of her basically getting the surgery. She's fine. It went successful, so she could be out between 4 to 6 months. You never know when it comes to an ACL tear, if that was what she got. But now we wonder, how are they going to be booking Zoe? How are they going to book Indy, who just got her ass beat? Who, honestly, between Zoe and Indy, I find Indy more compelling because she worked a lot more harder because of...
Let's be honest, the storyline between her and Dexter Lumis was just stupid.
It was stupid, and she had to work hard to recover from that. She's done pretty well for herself, redefining herself. But now taking this loss after what happened in the Royal Rumble, I'm wondering what they're going to do with her. Because honestly, she didn't need to lose. She didn't. You could have had Zoe lose, try to beat her down afterward, and then you could have still had Rika come out and do what she needed to do. Honestly, I really do believe the one who really needed to shine was Indy Hartwell. Let's move on to, well, this is where it gets interesting. We had the segment of Wesley saying that when it comes to Vengeance Day, he's going to win his match against Dijak. And he's always dealt with people smaller than him, and he's willing to go anywhere and do anything to get what he wants. Dijak comes out, and he said, you had your shot. You could have just handed me the damn title, but no. Now I'm going to destroy you. I don't care. At least he would have his chance to destroy him until Von Wagner came out with Mr. Stone. And I got something to say about that once I explain myself and the match itself. And pretty much Von Wagner is pissed. He's not getting anywhere. And he deserved a shot against the North American champion. Dijak saying, I got no problem with you. Don't start anything. But pretty much Wes was willing to, you know how he stirred that pot. He stirred the damn pot, making it very clear that Von Wagner had an option. He had the right to be angry. He deserves justice. So what do we get? We get a little bit of a fight, and then we get a match, which supposedly Wes had arranged that if Von Wagner wins against Dijak, he can become the next number one contender after Vengeance Day. So that's what we got. Now, here's the thing. I know not many people are going to agree with me. I know you've seen Von Wagner. He's still green. He's not the greatest wrestler in the ring. He's okay, but he's not the greatest wrestler. He still shows his greenness. Dijak, he's a way better wrestler. And when you watch this match, I think this is the best match I've ever seen Von Wagner ever have on the NXT roster to date. I know he had one with Braun. I know he had several of them before that. But I think this was the best match he's ever had because he had to deal with someone the same size as him. And I do believe Dijak,
That boy brought something out in him.
I think it's the first time he had to actually think and work hard. Because he's been going up against smaller guys. Yes, he did have that Odyssey Jones. He had his match with him, but let's be honest. Odyssey Jones is just as green as he is. Yes, he's great and moves pretty well in the ring, but he is green. I could see it. Odyssey Jones is still green. But you put him up against a Dijak who really is a very good wrestler with a decent story, with a decent character. He had to work, and he did. I'm not saying he did it perfectly, but I can tell you, that was the best match I've ever seen from Von Wagner. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Seeing that after it was over later in the night, you see Mr. Stone pissed and frustrated because he's been his manager for months, but he still doesn't know who Von Wagner is, and he's telling pretty much Von Wagner, give me something to work with. You have been losing. You've had all these opportunities and you're losing. Help me to help you figure out how to make this work. And he walks off. This is where it gets interesting because it's not just about, is this going to be something for Von Wagner to build off of? It's also Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone could be a great talker. But now we got to see what he's going to be working with when it comes to him. And when you see Von Wagner, is he going to show more of a personality? Is Mr. Stone going to go to someone else, see how he could work with another wrestler as a manager? Because remember, this isn't just about Von Wagner. It's also about Mr. Stone. As a manager, you got to be able to adjust on the fly. Look at Hathaway. Hathaway went from NXT to the main roster. Well, he briefly was on the main roster. He left. He was fine with it. I believe he was on the main roster. Then he was released or he quit. I can't remember which one. But when he went to AEW, he's done very well for himself because he knew how to adjust himself on the fly. The question is going to be for Mr. Stone, can he handle being with another wrestler? Will that help Von Wagner to change his character? Will this also help Mr. Stone? You guys tell me below how you feel. That's how I see it. Now, we got the best match of the night for me personally. Axiom versus Tyler Bates. I like Tyler. I thought he was very interesting. I thought that as a much more smaller stature, I think he's my height. Or maybe even, I'm like 5'8.5", maybe near 5'9". Due to my condition, it's like half of me is 5'8.5". Maybe the other half is about 5'9". Almost, because I'm kind of off lean. It's kind of hard to explain. But like half of me is taller than the other one. One leg is longer. So I could be 5'8.5", or I can be 5'9". It just depends on which leg you're talking about. So he could be just slightly taller than me. But he's a very interesting catch cam and chain wrestler. He is very good. So I see him against Axiom. Seeing Axiom as a very fast-paced submission wrestler who also can high fly, dealing with a more grounded wrestler who can move fast but is not a high flyer, was for a good match. I really did enjoy it. Now, mind you, before this match happened, when you saw Damon Kemp come out talking with them saying, oh, you want to do a match just to have some friendship or just friendly competition, you stupid. So that leads to when Tyler won the match. Axiom gets his head knocked off, and now Tyler is going to be dealing with Damon Kemp, who is now back, supposedly he can wrestle. And the question is going to be not about Tyler, but what about Damon? What are they going to be doing with him? Because he's finished with the Creeds, and it was an okay storyline with them, but what are they going to do with him now? And the worst thing that I'm hoping does not happen for Tyler Banks, he ends up like J.D. McDonough, a very good wrestler with a very unique character, but they use him to job out. Even though he gives great matches, he never gets anywhere. That's one of the things I'm hoping does not happen with a Tyler Bates. I'm worried about that. Now, we have finally the debuting of Stevie Taylor. This is interesting. I don't remember the other woman's name. What was her name? Paulina, I think, or Palma or something? I can't remember her name. This is not about her. This is about the streamer. This is about the influencer. This is about someone who could be on Twitch. This is what it is. Kind of like Kip Sabian. No, actually Kip Sabian. Always get him mixed up with Chris Sabin when it comes to Kip Sabian. Always say the names and get them interchanged because it sounds so familiar and so similar to me. But we got someone who's having the character, or possible, she may actually stream, I don't know if she does, stream off of Twitch. And that is the thing that's going on right now, that they're not really taking full advantage of. Because when you saw with John Cena back in the day, when he was into rap, into R&B a little bit, he was able to take full advantage of something he was already into to a certain extent. Because he was a freestyle rapper, even though he wasn't like doing any major albums until he released his actual album after he'd been wrestling for a while. He just loved rapping. You see her possibly as a real Twitch. If she was a real streamer, this goes perfect with how she wrestles. Now, is she a good wrestler? This is only the first time, so I can't really say yes or no. Screaming a lot, giving a few moves, does not mean she's great. It doesn't mean she's bad either. I have to watch her for a while to see. The question is going to be, how is Shawn Michaels going to incorporate the streaming aspect of a character into all of any storyline she gets? I'm hoping it does, because Von Wagner does pretty much like TikTok. She does possible streaming. I'm hoping it works out. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Now, the second match, it was good, but second match tonight was good, but I'm wondering how far they're going to go. That's Charlie Dempsey, the William Regal's son, versus Drew Gulak. I always mess his name up too. I don't really say much about Drew. It's very rare for me to even talk about him. So seeing him here in NXT is actually a good thing. We get the match with Hank at ringside. Good match. Good chain wrestling. These guys really did good work. And do I believe it was better than Axiom and Tyler Bates? No. Because there's more story than it is wrestling. But when you see that Drew actually used a little bit of Hank to win that match, even if it was by accident, because the way he shoved Dempsey, honestly, it works. Now the question is going to be, how far they're going to go with this? What is the goal here? Is this to get Hank over? Is this to get Charlie over? Because not to get Drew over. It's going to be either Hank or Charlie. And would Charlie notice that Drew is using him and may actually say, you know what? You're getting used, man. I don't like you, but I can honestly see you're really trying hard to learn. He's screwing with you, tricking you. Come with me. I'm not saying he would do that. I'm just saying. Now, the interview between Toxic Attraction and I was kind of surprised what happened, because once you see Toxic Attraction take over the entire interview, and you can see Roxanne really wanted to say something she could not because they were talking over her, eventually he walks out, and they made it all about them, which, seeing that the story is not about who will win, it's about Toxic Attraction winning. So it doesn't matter about Gigi or JC. Who is going to be the one to win? It don't matter to them. As long as one of them wins and the other one can basically hang on the coattails, that's the way they want it. The thing that got me was when Roxanne left. Guess what? She got so pissed off, she went to where they were and just started pounding on them all. That was not bad. I'm actually glad they did this because I'm going to tell you this. Is Roxanne ready for the main roster? Hell no. Does she feel developed enough? No. Is she a good wrestler? Yes. Does she have some level of character? Yes. But is that enough for the main roster? Hell no. She is not ready. You can feel it, not just because of how she was being quiet, but I've seen her on reality wrestling. She was protected a lot there, even though she did work hard. I saw her back in 2016 before I stopped doing Raw because I got so sick of how bad it was produced. It was not about the wrestlers. It was about how the production was so crap. How I'm going to be a rant. I'm sorry. I got a rant here. How in the blue fuck can Booker T, who says he's trying to develop the future, not make sure production worked? They had bad lighting. They had bad camera work. They had no animated graphics. It felt not even Bush League. It felt like crap. And reality of wrestling was important. I do believe that, like, when it comes to Booker T, he truly cares about the product. But he needs to throw more money into it. He needs to get more sponsors. Because how are those people really going to learn? Just seeing barely anything in the ring. No really hearing themselves whenever they did recording. Like Chino, when it came to Roxy. When it came to PJ Black. I remember him, PJ Black. I remember those people because they were so special. But the production to show them how to talk, how to wrestle, was crap. They need to have real production there, unless he's finally fixed it. I'm just saying. I had to rant. I'm sorry. I had to rant.
I still love Booker T.
And seeing him in the Royal Rumble was cool. But still, I'm going to say it. If Booker T saw this, I'm going to tell him, Booker T, I love you. I was always a fan of you. Whenever I did watch wrestling. Because at one point in my life, I had to stop because life and my wife didn't like it. But I always loved you as a wrestler. I still do. I still love the King Booger bit. I still love when you were champ. But if you're taking your promotion somewhere, make sure you produce it correctly. Come on, man. Have some pride. I'm not saying you're broke, but come on. Anyway, let's move on. Final match tonight. If I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. Oh, am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think I am. Oh, wait. Akita and Fallon, the little bit when they were with the tag champs. She was talking to someone named Zach. I don't know where they're going to go with that. That might actually be a brother in the story. So that's what I'm thinking might happen. And Fallon thinks that she's cheating on Jensen. I don't believe so. It's probably going to be a relative of her. That's why I think it may go. And then something later will happen. I don't know. I'm just going to say it like that. Final. Triple threat. For the opportunity to get into a fatal four-way at Vengeance with New Day, Pretty Deadly, and what was it? Geist. That's when it comes to it. That's what this match was for. You had Dyad. You had the problem I have, I'm always forgetting Bunky. I can't pronounce the guy who works with Blade. I always mispronounce his name. I always mispronounce it. It pissed me off. Aposhi. And Chase U when it comes to Duke Hudson and Andre Chase. And you also see Thea on the outside. This was a good match. I did think that Schism should have won. In other words, Dyad should have won. But seeing that Chase U won, and I actually really like Chase U. Andre Chase, it's a stupid gimmick. Yeah, seeing Andre Chase as a professor, teaching everybody and treating them like shit to make them learn, I like it. And I didn't expect it to get anywhere. But now, you're actually throwing him into the Fatal 4-Way along with Duke Hudson, who is still questionable if you can trust him. I like that. I'm glad it happened because I really like Chase U, but I did not expect him to go there. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When it comes to Abba Rain, Thea grabs her legs because she got up onto the ring skirt. Will they have a match? And is Alva ready? because she came back after a severe injury. She's now working with Schism. That's going to be a big question. Like, well, before I forget, because I should leave it, but what did I say about Isla Dawn and about Alba Fire? The reason I was saying Alva and Alba, I was getting mixed up because I was thinking about it. I did realize they were going to come together. The question is with them, kind of like with Alva Rain, how are they going to book them? We got 3 women: Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, Alva Rain. You got 3 women. That could be something, but the question is, how do you book them? I don't know. You guys tell me below. And I hope you enjoy this
NXT review.
Please give me a like. I don't normally ask for it, but please give me a like if you don't mind. It does help the algorithm say, oh, wait a minute, people like him. Maybe we should see more. I'm going to be honest, I ain't going to make no damn money. I don't make no money. But you know what? If this helps anybody understand more of wrestling, I'm cool with it. Peace.